from KSAT 12. The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
The impacts are significant and they are negative. The drought putting a strain on the cattle industry, leading ranchers to rush and sell livestock.
It's an eerily similar situation from a decade ago when the 2011 drought led to historically low cattle numbers. Our Alicia Barrera visited Seguin Cattle Company, where ranchers hope that one day they will recover. But for now, they have to cash in.
The relentless heat has cooked up brown pastures, cracked open the soil, and once again has threatened the Lone Star State's beef cattle production.
There's been good, there's been bad, and I've seen a lot of changes in my life.
Hilmer Cowie got his start in the beef cattle industry about 60 years ago.
When you're in agriculture, you're always concerned.
Concern that has taught him tough lessons and to always be prepared for bad times.
We would have grazing. Usually that's what happens this time of the year. But with the drought going on right now, we're feeding range cubes, and we're also feeding hay to the cows.
However, hay has also become scarce, making it harder and more expensive to feed their herd.
With not enough food, the drought is forcing sellers to cash in earlier at places like Seguin Cattle Company. But even then, the number of cattle up for auction has definitely decreased over the years.
42, ready, 42.
According to the USDA's annual cattle inventory report, the beef cow herd declined by 2%, down to 30.1 million. And Brian Lensman, manager at Seguin Cattle Company, says it won't be long before this year's drought catches up at the meat counter.
We're taking young cows in the prime of their life and they're getting turned into hamburger meat. We're selling them just out of desperation because you don't want to mistreat the animal and make it starve, so we're dispersing herds.
From experience, ranchers know it'll take years to recover.
I mean, that's up to Mother Nature and God. Just pray for rain.
Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
An emotional day in a Bexar County courtroom for the family of a woman who police say was run over and killed by her husband, David Estrada. Today, the prosecution showed jurors surveillance footage of the death of Domingo Pesquera. Erica Hernandez in court for day 2 of Estrada's murder trial.
A night of hanging out with friends ended in tragedy for Dominga Pesquera. She was hit and killed by a truck her husband, David Estrada, was allegedly driving on September 5th, 2020. One of the last people to see her alive, a friend, Raul Gamboa, took the stand to testify that at the time Dominga and David were at his home, nothing appeared wrong between the couple. Minutes after they left, he heard his dog barking and went outside to see David standing outside.
I was asking him questions, he couldn't respond, like he was just... Like in a daze. Well, I asked him, where's Minga? And then he takes off running.
The jury was then shown surveillance video from a nearby home. In it, that video shows the moments leading up to the incident. The video starts with Dominga walking down the street when the pickup truck David Estrada was allegedly driving following behind. The truck stops and the two appear to have a conversation. As she walks away, you see the truck accelerate and take a sharp turn toward Dominga as it jumps the curb. The truck eventually drives off, but minutes later you see Estrada back at the scene.
An individual was running to the crash scene from the direction where the vehicle was parked.
The trial will continue on Wednesday. If found guilty, Estrada is facing 5 to 99 years or life in prison. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
The numbers are uncertain, but teacher unions in 2 of San Antonio's largest school districts say that many teachers are scared to go back to their classrooms after what happened in Uvalde. This much we do know. Both Northside and Northeast ISDs report they have 250 teacher vacancies to fill. That is higher than normal, they say. On top of the fear sparked by the Uvalde shooting, union leaders say the teachers were already trying to cope with recent cutbacks in state funding.
They were already upset by both the low pay and the working conditions. And now you throw in the fear factor and the concern that school districts have not done their job yet in making campuses secure.
However, both the Bexar County Federation of Teachers and the Northside American Federation of Teachers say their districts have done all they can do to secure their campuses. But they want to know more about what the state plans to do with the millions that will be spent to make Texas schools safer.
A West Side man recovering after San Antonio police say he was shot in the chest during an attempted carjacking overnight. It happened a little before 2 a.m. in a convenience store parking lot along I-10. According to officers, the 34-year-old victim said he was shot when someone tried to steal his truck. The victim able to drive to a friend's house in the 2200 block of Calaveras and actually call for help. The suspect was nowhere to be found, but the victim was taken to University Hospital and is expected to recover.
Some new crosses are on display at a memorial for the migrants who died after being inside a sweltering tractor trailer on Quintana Road. A group of volunteers traveling from Houston put those crosses up today. 53 migrants died late last month as a result of being in the back of that truck with no AC in 100-degree weather. The group from Houston wanted to show their support for the San Antonio community because a similar situation happened near Houston years ago in Victoria. More than 70 migrants were found inside a trailer there.
Friends and family mourning the death of a Naval Academy student from New Braunfels. The U.S. Naval Academy says midshipman second class Luke Gabriel Bird died while on a hike in Chile last Saturday. Chilean authorities say Bird lost his footing and fell over a waterfall. He was participating in a semester abroad program at the Arturo Prat Naval Academy in Chile. Bird attended New Braunfels High School, where he was the captain of the wrestling team. Luke Bird was 21 years old.
New at 6, after 95 years, St. Gerard Catholic School is closing its doors, and it's because of low student enrollment. The Archdiocese of San Antonio says just 35 students enrolled for the upcoming school year. That would have put the projected operations deficit at $500,000. A big part of that budget comes from tuition, along with donations, fundraising, and Archdiocese subsidies. The Archdiocese had already been subsidizing St. Gerard for the last several years, and with just 35 students, the expense was not sustainable. The Department of Catholic Schools and the Archdiocese of San Antonio are helping currently enrolled students transition to other Catholic high schools in the city.
Check out traffic right now on this Tuesday, and you can see we're at I-10 in Hackberry, and it looks like the westbound lanes are moving fine. It's the eastbound lanes that are a little slow, but I think it's just the normal give and take at this time of day. Well, new at 6, though gas prices have recently dipped. AAA reports prices are still 43% higher than they were this time last year. So people are continuing to come up with different options. A longtime local cycle shop owner tells Courtney Friedman a big change they've been seeing, a spike in motorcycle and scooter sales.
It's an option many drivers never thought they'd consider, buying a motorcycle.
Any motorcycle is going to have better fuel economy than a car. So it's a lot less weight, smaller engine size. So you're looking at 30, 40, 50 miles to the gallon.
Dave Sears owns Alamo Cycleplex and says people who just can't afford these sky-high fuel prices are steering in a different direction. And it's not just motorcycles.
They just want something to commute to work, much like this. This is a scooter, just like we're all used to, and you jump on and it maybe does 35 miles an hour and you go to work.
Though the scooters have been extremely popular, some customers are opting for even smaller options.
Not only are people buying, smaller size motorcycles, electric bicycles, but we have a product we call the One Wheel, which is sort of a motorized skateboard. There's one big wheel in the middle. They're a lot of fun.
Sears says the economy is hitting dealers too by way of supply chain issues and delivery gas price hikes. So you can expect to see a couple extra fees tacked onto your purchase.
Now we're paying extra shipping charges to get the bikes here. And then, of course, unfortunately, that gets passed on to the consumer in the way of a fee.
But he says, without question, you'll be saving more on gas in the long run. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Look outside with live cam this evening, another scorcher out there, and we just keep talking about how we're stacking up in the record books because it keeps changing, Adam.
Yeah, it does, and we keep tallying up these 100-degree days. So we'll take a look at when we're likely to break into the top 3 rankings of most 100-degree days in a year. But I want to take a look at the state, too. Everybody's feeling the heat. I highlighted the record high temperatures today, including San Angelo, Midland, Abilene, Dallas, Wichita Falls, and Amarillo. I really emphasize Wichita Falls because they had a high of 114 this afternoon. Here in San Antonio, our high temperature was 103. Cotulla made it up to 108. Del Rio, high temperature of 106. Right now, we're still feeling it, of course. Sun's still out. 102, mostly sunny. By 8 o'clock, 98. 10 o'clock, 90 degrees. And tomorrow morning, upper 70s, right near 80. We're going to talk more about those heat stats in just a bit.
A lot of the suicide prevention hotlines are reporting larger numbers of youth and adults as well calling in about suicide.
It's alarming. Mental health disorders rising fast among teens. What experts say parents can do to help. Coming up next at 6.
KSAT 12 celebrates Military City, USA, powered by USAA.
San Antonio has been called Military City, USA for its different career training at Joint Base San Antonio Lackland. And here at the Career Enlisted Aviator Center of Excellence is where the United States Air Force flight attendants learn the fundamentals of serving the president on Air Force One.
We are training future flight attendants who will be going off to fly with our nation's top leaders, to include the Vice President, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, flying anywhere and everywhere. Obviously, our main job is safety on the aircraft.
The aircrew are required to learn all aircraft emergency procedures plus proper etiquette while flying around the world with our top leaders.
It is imperative that we are teaching them to pay attention to details. Something so small could set a mission back. We don't want our users to be late to meetings, so we harp on manners, etiquette, and protocol, teaching them to be professional since they will be in front of some of our nation's most important leaders.
I'm Stefania Jimenez, and here's what we're working on for you tonight on the Night Beat. Crime concerns in downtown San Antonio, the problems that police are facing, and what visitors have to say about this. Also, millions of dollars on the line as the Uvalde victims' families wait for financial assistance, when they could see that money, and the next step in distributing those funds. Plus, another COVID vaccine gets final approval from the CDC. What sets Novavax apart from the other options that you have on the market? We'll see you for these stories and more tonight on The Night Beat.
New at 6, even before the pandemic, the mental well-being of teenagers was on the decline. Now, the most recent CDC survey found that roughly 20% of all teens reported having seriously considered attempting suicide. 55% reported emotional abuse at home. Ursula Perry now with a new guideline for parents dealing with what the U.S. Surgeon General says is a devastating mental health crisis.
Grades, friends, the future. There's a lot that teens worry about right now.
There's been countless moments of depression, anxiety, imposter syndrome.
Like everyone puts on a mask and not everyone is okay.
More than 1 in 3 high school students experience persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness. And 1 in 6 youth reportedly made a suicide plan in the past year. Experts say one of the best things you can do as a parent is talk to your teens about their emotions.
Just wanted to talk to you about how things are going. Even the new school year can be another great opportunity to say, I just want to check in.
Parents may also increase positive emotions and manage difficult feelings by getting their teens to follow SEEDS. SEEDS stands for sleep, exercise, education, diet, and self-care. Practicing elements of SEEDS, such as self-care, which focuses on hygiene, can encourage confidence, boost self-esteem, and reduce feelings of sadness.
The idea of SEEDS is to get kids to take care of their minds by taking care of their body. One more fun fact that you could share with your teens, 988. It's a new national hotline number, just 3 digits. You can call anytime, anywhere, and talk to a counselor about your feelings. Ursula Perry, KSAT 12 News.
Sky 12 out and about, and we are over Aquatica at SeaWorld. Check out that wave pool.
Oh, it looks nice.
There's a few people down there.
Any pool.
This is the place to be if you want to be out.
Yeah.
About. And 103.
Yeah, and you can walk around the little pool with those little rays, that they have. That's swimming around.
Yeah.
My youngest, Josie, was just there the other day with her friend Brooke, and they had such a good time doing that. Perfect kind of weather to be out there and enjoying splash pads, water parks, pools. You need that relief. Hot until further notice. I don't know how else to put it. A sunny and dry forecast and a few record highs likely soon. Daily record highs. Take a look at our forecast. Tomorrow, we're anticipating 104. That would be a new record high for the day by 3 degrees. Thursday, we're forecasting 103. That would be a new record high by 1 degree. And then still in the low 100s Friday all the way into early next week, but several degrees away from the record highs for those days. So today officially 103 the high temperature, the average being 95, the record 106. And keep in mind, we're not at the warmest part of the year, climatologically speaking. Our average high temperature goes up to 97 in August, and climatologically speaking, that's our hottest time of the year. So there's a lot of summer left. We've had our 40th 100-degree day today. A lot of summer left to go. July and then August, and even into September, we can hit triple digits very easily. By Thursday, this year will rank third all time for the most 100-degree days, as we'll be at 42 at that point. So we'll be having to rearrange this graphic. And to put it in perspective, back in 2009, that stands out as the most 100-degree days in a year. By this date in 2009, we had 27 100-degree days. Right now it's 102, dew point is 61. Bit of a southeasterly breeze picking up, which is nice. We get that wind coming off the Gulf, and it gusts around 20 to 25 miles per hour in the evening and all the way through about midnight. So at least we have a bit of a breeze out there. Nonetheless, it's still hot. Most of us in the triple-digit readings. Fredericksburg an exception at 99, Rock Springs 97, and of course very close to the Gulf of Mexico, we're in the 90s with the very high humidity. That air doesn't warm up as efficiently as the drier air locally. Bulverde 100 degrees, Castroville 106, Converse measured at Randolph Air Force Base 102. When you factor in the humidity, it feels like it's about a degree or two warmer than the actual air temperature for most of us. So Hondo, heat index of 103. Converse, actually, when you calculate the heat index, it's a degree lower than the air temperature because the air is dried out there with a dew point of 58. Once that dew point drops below 60, you kind of get the reverse heat index. But we still have enough humidity out there to tack on a degree or so. And I do think tomorrow the humidity is going to linger enough through the afternoon when we typically see it drop. But it's going to linger enough that we'll see heat index values between about 104 to 108 for most of us tomorrow afternoon. Let's talk about rainfall. So Sarah Spivey went through every year on record and calculated how much rainfall to this day we've had. And 2022, unfortunately, is the driest year up through July 19th. Now, I know we've had some rain elsewhere. This is just at the airport. You know, just north of the airport, there's actually been a decent amount of rain, but at our official reporting and climate site, that's the stat. So obviously we're looking for rainfall. Big Blue H still in control. It's centered off to the west of us, but still significantly influencing our weather. And you look off to the tropics, nothing brewing in the Gulf or the Caribbean. Farther out into the Atlantic, not even a swirl coming off of Africa to get anything going to transport some moisture our way. Sunny and dry, that's the forecast, unfortunately. 79 tomorrow morning, 93 at noon, 104 the high temperature, feeling like it's closer to 107 for just a few hours in the afternoon, and a south-southeasterly wind at 10 to 15. So a bit of a breeze again tomorrow, gusting to 20 at times. Del Rio up to 108. Even Beeville 101, Pleasanton 106 tomorrow, New Braunfels 104, Von Army 106. You get the idea. Dog days of summer, triple digits, dominating the 7-day forecast, and no real end in sight. Really, unless we see a big pattern shift, which is unlikely, or some tropical activity move our way, I don't foresee any big changes soon.
Yeah, we just keep waiting. Thanks, Adam.
All right, Major League Baseball draft was last night?
It's wrapping up today.
Wrapping up today, okay.
Yeah, 20
but the first round was the other day.
Yeah, and 7 San Antonio baseball players who attended high school here in the area got drafted by a Major League Baseball team. 2 of them from Bernie, Cole Phillips and Douglas Hodo III. And in the NFL, Cowboys' Tyler Smith, the rookie, is ready for his first NFL training camp coming up.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
By this time next week, the Dallas Cowboys will be in Oxnard, California, ahead of their first practice Wednesday, July 27th. And all eyes will be on first-round draft pick Tyler Smith, the 24th overall selection, as practice at left guard and left tackle this offseason. The Cowboys' hope is for him to start week 1 at left guard while becoming a short-term fill-in option and long-term successor at left tackle for Tyron Smith. The rookie recently spent time at OL Masterminds, a summit where offensive linemen gather to share trade insights. The young man is learning from the NFL's very best. Now, the Houston Texans will open training camp next week at the Houston Methodist Training Center. under first-year head coach Lovie Smith, their first-year head coach, that is. Now, rookies must report by this Saturday, veterans by Tuesday the 26th. Second-year quarterback Davis Mills is entering his first training camp as the starter, so the spotlight will be on the 23-year-old. 2 NFL training camps are already underway, with rookies reporting this morning for Las Vegas and Buffalo. Alabama head football coach Nick Saban was front and center at SEC Media Days going down in Atlanta. He was asked about his dust-up with Aggies head football coach Jimbo Fisher, to which Saban responded he has no issues with Jimbo. Saban also talked about name, image, and likeness, a hot topic for sure. He says he's all about student-athletes creating values for themselves. But when it comes to name, image, and likeness tied to recruiting, Saban says things need to change.
I think when it's used in recruiting, and players start making choices and decisions based on promises that are made in name, image, and likeness, I'm not sure that is a good thing. So I do think there needs to be some guidelines, in that. And I think there needs to be transparency in, how all that's done. And I do think there needs to be some protection for players when it comes to people who represent them and third parties who are involved, people who get between, the money and the player.
Jimbo and the Aggies are scheduled to meet with the media Thursday, the last of 14 SEC teams. We stopped by Bernie High School today to talk with head baseball coach Bill Merrill. Coach was all smiles because 2 of his players, Cole Phillips and Douglas Hodo III, were selected in the Major League Baseball draft. Coach showed us a wall featuring the names of every Bernie baseball player drafted and said Hodo and Phillips' names will soon be added to that wall by the concession stand. Phillips, a right-handed pitcher, was drafted 57th overall by the Braves, and Hodo, who's coming off his redshirt sophomore season at UT, was drafted 167th overall by the Baltimore Orioles.
It's an unbelievable experience. I mean, it's if you're fortunate enough to have great kids, and we have great kids here at Bernie, and really some unbelievable athletes, and these 2 young men that were drafted just the other day, they're no exception. They're great young men. As good a ball players as they are, they're greater young men than that. They're just both great kids of character.
Here's the local players drafted. Jace Young from MacArthur High School, 12th overall by the Tigers. Cole Phillips drafted by the Braves at 57. Right-handed pitcher Ryan Jennings from Smithson Valley was selected by the Blue Jays at 128. Madison alum Jalen Battles drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays. The Orioles selected Hodo III. Dalton Schofield from Johnson High School was drafted by the Twins, 294 overall. And today in the 16th round, the White Sox drafted Medina Valley right-handed pitcher Tristan Stivers. So congratulations to all of them.
Yeah, they have some decisions to make.
Yes, they do.
Go play pro ball,
Yep.
go to college.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry.
Our KSAT Q&A is coming up next.
You've got questions, we've got answers, and we take them right to the source. And today, as we like to welcome him on a weekly basis if possible, San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg joined us. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your time as always. The new Migrant processing center is opened on San Pedro. It was opened over the weekend, I believe. There have been some questions from people who live in that neighborhood. Talk about the need for this in our community and what you're telling neighbors who are concerned about this in an old CPS Energy distribution center, I think, off San Pedro.
Sure. Well, again, this is part of the legal asylum process that we've already been engaged in for years. And previous to the center opening, the operations were scattered all across the city, which creates a challenge. Obviously, you had folks that ended up just being in Travis Park, folks that were staying at in the waiting areas in the airport. So this is a facility that's going to be operated using federal FEMA grant dollars that are for the purpose, and also volunteers, Catholic charities, our faith community stepping up to do what we've already been doing, but in a more efficient manner, ensuring that people who are coming across for their asylum hearings are reunited with their families. They are stopping here regardless, and so we're helping them get on their way to reunite with their families or their sponsor families as they await their hearings. But it's critical to note a couple of things. Number one, the folks that are here legally. They are here waiting for their asylum processing, and so they are coming through San Antonio, and we're helping them get on their way in a more effective, efficient manner that's less disruptive to the community. And also, this is being operated through a grant made possible by FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Assistance. So, we think this is going to be a much less disruptive way of dealing with the migration flows that we do on a daily basis throughout the year.
You talk about FEMA money being what is going to actually fund this. I know that's a question a lot of people had. Would city dollars be going into funding this resource center? We've talked about the number of migrants coming through San Antonio. I think the estimate was 19,000 for last month. Really just numbers that we have not seen before. And we understand that you just got back from a trip to D.C. to talk to Homeland Security about this very issue.
Yeah, so, again, we've seen increases and then decreases in migration flows from across the southern border and really throughout the world on an annual basis. And so, especially with speculation with regard to the Title 42 Remain in Mexico order that was put in place during the pandemic, the speculation of it being lifted, there's created new challenges with processing. So we were visiting with Homeland Security to let them know that we're going to need some assistance, and we're also going to need to distribute the burden across the border region. San Antonio, I think, has come up with a good solution for what we're seeing here locally, which is a solution that could be adopted and made more efficient across these areas that are already, again, seeing migration flows on a daily basis, regardless of Title 42.
A lot of, obviously the weather has been such a huge issue. Hottest start to the year, our meteorologists are telling us, driest start to the year. Heating centers are operational, but when you see the strain, the daily strain that is placed on the Texas energy grid, how concerned are you about it? And is the city looking at ways to mitigate the situation should the grid go down?
Well, here's the challenge. CPS Energy actually has done a very good job making sure that their plants are maintained and that we're generating enough electricity. The challenge is a lack of accountability at the state level, and we are required to be part of the ERCOT grid. And without that accountability, other grid operators in other parts of the state, when they go down and are insufficiently supplying energy to their own communities, we are ordered by the state to contribute some of that energy capacity. So we're doing fine if we didn't have to comply with those state regulations that forces us to give up some of our energy capacity to other communities. And the challenge is, of course, when there's lack of accountability and lack of regulation on upkeep of those facilities, we're the ones that end up hurting if there is a piece of the grid that goes down. But CPS Energy has done its part to make sure that, number one, we're up and running and that our community is doing well, but we're at the mercy of the state if others are failing in their jobs to keep energy and keep the electricity going. The other challenge, of course, with the energy prices is the instability within the gas markets. We've seen global market instability as a result of global conflicts, gas shortages in other parts of the world. And so those are affecting the gas prices here locally and across the state of Texas. And so when those fluctuate, those are fees that everybody pays on their bills that has nothing to do with CPS. It's a pass-through. So, that's the other thing, is that's creating a strain on energy production, and it's also creating an increase in those bills as a result of the instability in the gas markets.
So because CPS is in that position, though, of being at the mercy of the state power grid, and perhaps because of some of the lessons learned from February 2021, is there anything that CPS, the city, is looking at right now to say, okay, if we do have to shut off power to give to other communities, what are we going to do here to try to keep people safe in that situation?
Well, there's a few things, and number one, if the state orders rolling blackouts, and again, we hope that they got the message loud and clear last time that these were not rolling blackouts, they were just complete blackouts. We can't do it that way. The state cannot do it that way again. But if that does happen locally, rest assured that that's happening throughout the state of Texas. That's not our burden to bear alone. If we had complete control over our energy production and distribution, we would be okay. But again, this is a challenge on the state grid. What we are doing locally to make sure that everybody is contributing, and I have to, again, say thank you to everybody in this community who has responded to the need to power down when you're not in a room, turn off the lights. If we're in a peak use and ERCOT sends out a warning, increase the thermostat a couple of degrees. That's actually been working, and we've been able to see capacity increase in those situations. So just paying attention to the warnings that the state ERCOT grid sends out is really important. And just, at the end of the day, we've got to vote. We have to vote for people who are going to hold accountability on the entire state energy grid. That would be my recommendation.
San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg, always appreciate your time.
Thanks so much, y'all. Stay cool.
We will sure try. And we'll be right back. A pretty significant discovery by European astronomers, a mysterious type of black hole outside of the Milky Way. Very first time. It's called a dormant stellar mass black hole spotted in a neighboring galaxy. The black hole, it's the spot you see right there on your screen. The big blue mass is a star with about 25 times the sun's mass the black hole is orbiting.
Kind of looks like an Oreo dipped into the Milky Way. Maybe it's just maybe I'm hungry. Scientists say that one of the things that makes these black holes different from the traditional type is they don't emit high levels of X-ray radiation. That makes them difficult to detect. Scientists had to make a series of calculations from observations made by the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope to find it. That doesn't mean it's small or rare. This black hole has at least 9 times the mass of our sun, and dormant stellar mass black holes like it are thought to be fairly common.
Oh. And yet we're over here talking about Milky Ways and Oreos. So,
yes. It's dinner time.
It is.
Yeah.
Or dessert time.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the new images of the Snickers galaxy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
One.
Yeah.
The Kit Kat galaxy.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cup galaxy.
Oh, that's going to be the best one. This time of year, I like to put them in the freezer, too.
Yes.
They just melt in your mouth. Okay, 102 degrees right now. Southeasterly breeze, steady at 11, but we'll be gusting up to about 20, 25 miles per hour later on. So at least we'll have a bit of a breeze out there as temperatures gradually drop. Near 90 at 10 o'clock, midnight will be 84 degrees. We're going to compare the hottest Julys on record here in town to what we have so far in just a bit.
All right. Let's talk about this heat.
We're leaning in because we want to know when we're not going to see 100-degree temperatures.
September?
Ooh, all right.
Hot in triple digits until further notice.
Gotcha.
That's the trend, and it's just going to continue. And we are on pace to have the most 100-degree days in a given year on record here in San Antonio. All right, temperatures going forward. Tomorrow, 104. That would be a record by 3 degrees. Thursday, 103. That'd be a record by 1 degree. Friday and Saturday, 101. And those would be much farther away from the record, so I didn't even bother listing them. But today, our record high was 106, but we made it to 103 for the high temperature. It's a good 8 degrees above average for this time of year. And take a look at our month so far. The average temperature overall has been 89.9 degrees. And that's about 5.5 degrees above average. But to put it in perspective, if July ended today, that's the wrong graphic. But I do want to point out, it looks similar to this. If July ended today, then it would be the hottest July on record in San Antonio. Here we go. That's the right graphic. I'm going to get the right one up for you there. There we go. They look similar, but anyway, different data. Okay, so it would be the hottest July on record here in San Antonio. So far, we're above and beyond what has been the hottest July, 2009, with an average temperature of 88.7. We're far above it, and there's still some July left, of course, but no big changes in sight. 102 currently, clear sky, not as hazy. A lot of that African dust is out of here, dispersed, and it's pretty much negligible right now. It feels like it's 1 degree warmer than the air temperature because those dew points dropped off as they often do in the afternoon. We had a maximum heat index today of 105 in San Antonio just for off and on for a couple of hours. That was our max feels like, officially at the airport, that is. Abilene 108, 109 Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas 105. Triple digits, not just here in Texas, but stretching northward, even into Nebraska, North Platte right now, 100 degrees. The hot spot for us, Cotulla 108, Laredo even 107. Meanwhile, Kennedy 96, Victoria 92. You get close to the Gulf of Mexico, that's our moisture source, and the muggier conditions there keep their temperatures down, but the heat index makes up for it. It's a give and take. Helotes right now, 101. And let's talk about tomorrow morning. 7 a.m., more of the same, about 78 degrees here in San Antonio and some mid-70s in the hill country. Then by the afternoon, we're expecting, 103, 104 for the high temperature, and even as high as 106, particularly on the south and west side of San Antonio. Now, when it comes to the humidity, yeah, it's going to be very muggy, and that humidity is not going to really drop off much until the hottest part of the day, but I think we'll still have enough humidity in the air to give us a heat index, the feels like temperature, of about 104 to 108 during parts of the afternoon tomorrow. So it will play a bit of a role in terms of the feels like temperature. Quiet across the state today. Upper level high, it's centered over Arizona, but still significantly influencing our weather. What we need is what we have going on in the southeastern U.S. and Florida. This dip, that trough, the dip in the upper level flow. We could use that. Unfortunately, nothing coming down the pike, and they're all being blocked out right now by the upper level high. And there's just nothing to even round it and move into town, and nothing to drift in from the tropics either. It's been a while since we've seen a good trough move through town, and it looks like it's going to be much longer. Unfortunately, I can't even put in a 10% chance of rain. We've had that quite a bit over the past several weeks where, you know, we could say 1 or 2 showers would pop up for a few lucky neighborhoods. Unfortunately, we can't even do that right now. So sunny and dry, that's the rule. Dog days of summer. 79 at 7 a.m. By noon, we make it to 93. A southerly breeze at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. High temperature of 104. In San Antonio again, that would be record breaking, with the record high being 101. So we're expecting daily record highs Wednesday and Thursday. And yeah, we trim back a few degrees, but you're not going to notice a huge difference. I mean, 101 Friday and Saturday, still hot and sunny.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam.
Not even rain chances.
Nothing.
Ugh. In case you missed it, coming up next. Here's today's In Case You Missed It.
It is Tuesday. It is July 19th.
San Antonio police investigating a stabbing inside the shops at the River Center.
We're told that a woman believed to be in her 70s was stabbed during an altercation inside a restroom there. But the suspect didn't get away unharmed. SAPD saying a juvenile relative of the elderly woman went into the restroom and stabbed the suspect using a different weapon. The suspect ran off into the mall and collapsed.
She and the victim were taken to the hospital. The woman in her 70s is said to be in critical condition. The other woman will face charges.
State Senator Roland Gutierrez continuing his lawsuit against DPS. Gutierrez has a court hearing scheduled for August 4th when he says that he will ask for more details about who knew what when. He wants to know where state troopers were situated, who gave them the orders during the response. We have more details on KSAT.com.
Well, triple-digit temps sticking around all summer. There are reports that President Joe Biden's considering declaring a national emergency. It would allow the administration to speed up efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote renewable energy. It would come at a time where much of the U.S., including Texas, is experiencing record temperatures.
Toys R Us is making a comeback just in time for the holiday season. The iconic toy store went bankrupt and sold its stores back in 2018, but now it's going to be in every Macy's store in the U.S. The stores are going to be different sizes, from 1,000 square feet in smaller locations to up to 10,000 square feet in the big cities. The rollout starts later this month and goes through October.
The dominant strain among COVID cases last week is Omicron's BA.5 subvariant, causing almost 80% of the cases. According to data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that's up from 69% the week before. The rise of this subvariant over the past 3 months has resulted in increases in cases, hospitalizations, and deaths in U.S. and Europe. It's also driving a wave of breakthrough infections and reinfections, causing health officials to warn people to pay attention to COVID levels in their communities.
Tomorrow morning, 80 in Del Rio, 78 here in San Antonio by the afternoon. You know how this goes. We've been here, done that. We'll be above 100 degrees again, and I think officially in town about 104 at the airport. Same with Stone Oak, 106 Von Army, Lavernia 104, Bernie, triple digits. We do trim off a few degrees by Friday into the weekend, but still hot, 101. It looks like some record high temperatures will fall both tomorrow and Thursday, and then the records far exceed our forecast thereafter, so I didn't bother including them on there. Also, when you factor in the humidity for a bit tomorrow afternoon, it'll feel like it's about 104 to 108.
That's a thermometer workout right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam, and thank you for watching.
We'll see you on the Night Beat at 10.
Jeez.